We're just winging it.
We're going to talk about all kinds of things tonight, folks. Look at that award. That's a pretty little award you got there.
Sit down before people see you're in your underwear.
Yeah.
He has the jacket on, but it's tidy whities underneath.
Yeah. For those of you who can't see, Ken is in his underwear.
People in the world in it, and that's what I love about my job. I get to work with great people just like you guys.
Not us specifically, but great people like us.
All right, guys, this is going to be show number 89. Gentlemen, please pay attention. Welcome to applaud if you like, or boo, I don't care. Mitchell's running camera. Give us a countdown, and let's slam this one through, guys.
Slam it.
Ready? Working on the lights. Who's hot? Am I hot? Too hot?
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. They call the Ghostbusters in the in control.
Okay. That's those long intros people don't like, but you gotta love it because we're all friends here just hanging out and having a good time. So please give me a countdown because I'm ready to have some fun. 3, 2. This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 89. Tonight, we've got a lot of cool things to talk about. I've got some neat Athearn locomotives that I shot this week in the beautiful weather that we're having. Jeff Meyer's here with some gorgeous freight cars from Exact Rail, and I've got a passenger car here that's just gorgeous. Plus, we've got the new Wonder Cutter on the table from Micromark, that sonic cutter that cuts at 40,000 vibrations per second. So check it out. Everything's good. A lot to talk about tonight on show number 89. The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Athearn Trains. Check out all their new monthly announcements at athearn.com. And by Micromark, the small tool specialists. Visit their website and use product code WNTW at www.micromark.com/WNTW. Also by TrainFest, America's largest operating model train show since 1972. Check out their website and show dates at trainfest.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 89 for September 14th, 2019. It's fall out there, guys, and I know it because today I was out there shooting these beautiful Athearn GP38-2s, and I got to tell you what, it was an absolutely beautiful day to be doing these photos outside. I was out there just enjoying the moment, and we have a CP rail, a BNSF. It looks like a Chicago Northwestern, and of course, the both Durham's and Southern Railroad locomotives that I had on the show last week. But without further ado, let me say I've got with me tonight Campbell Rice sitting with me over here. Campbell's now moved to St. Louis, and he's starting to work on his layout, which is kind of awesome because we're going to learn a lot from you as you go along because you're using the latest techniques.
I hope so.
I've also got Joshua Sugarfire Barton, who's actually got to go back to work tonight, so that's why we're shooting this show early. I've also got Jeff Meyer. Jeff has got a lot of neat things to talk about tonight. Thank you, Jeff, for coming. And I, of course, am Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, that show that you guys all like to watch. And I believe September is out right now. That's a great video where Mitchell Befoden builds that beautiful tarp load for us in the video. And, of course, James Regier, who isn't here tonight, shows us that gorgeous grain elevator that him and his grandfather actually used to deliver grain to up in Canada a long time ago. There's a lot of other great segments in that video. And then October is finished. That's the Prototype Modelers Meet. I've just finished that show, and it's uploaded to Joe Fugate. And I've actually got 17 minutes of November already finished with a lot of great how-tos. November, December, and January are going to be full of nothing but how to do it, how to build it, how to make things work in this hobby. And that's why you guys all like to watch those videos. But on the show tonight, we've got so many different things to talk about. I was at K10 Hobbies again this week. On Thursday night, they had their operating session. And what we didn't talk about in the last show was the wonderful hobby shop that they've actually got over there. They stock a full supply of everything that you need to build a model railroad layout. And I mean, you walk through the store, it's clean, everything's behind glass. There's a lot of items in there that are out of production because, quite simply, being in Maryville, Illinois, it's not like a hobby shop in Greater St. Louis where you're going to get mobbed and all the product sells out right away. So there's a lot of gems that are out of production that you can find, including this Aero train that we talked about on last week's show. I actually videotaped the box just to make sure it's there, and sure enough, it's there in its entirety. The beautiful Aero train that they've got is available, and I'll bet at the end of this week that's gone. But tell you what, Jeff Meyer, you brought some gorgeous models tonight. Tell me what you want to talk about this evening.
You want me to just talk about all of them at one time?
Go ahead and shoot.
Well, I got
buddy.
about 4 different things. I'll start from back to front. These are 2 new Exact Rail models. They're Berwick 7440 appliance box cars. They look like auto parts cars, but they're not. These are actually for appliances, I believe mostly for GE in Evansville, Indiana, for fridges, dishwashers, that type of stuff. They just came out a couple months ago. I got Conrail, ICG, and I believe they also did Rock Island and Penn Central, but they're really nice cars, as always. It's one of the first cars they've probably released in a while, it seems like, but they're really nice. And then this one up here is a Tangent Scale Models X58. That one I actually weathered. It's one of the more recent cars I've actually finished, and of course Tangent, anything they do is really, really awesome as well. And then this car is a passenger car I did for a friend of mine. I believe it is a branch line kit. And it was painted by the Monon Historical Society. It came with decals. You had to build it and everything.
Wow.
My friend Scott Eichmeyer has a really cool Monon layout in his basement here in St. Louis. And he was a little apprehensive about doing the decal work, so he sent it to me and had me finish doing all the decal work for him. And it wasn't too bad, so it's something different for the show, you know,
That's
a passenger
beautiful car.
car. Yeah,
very much so.
It's called the Sir Henry W. Thornton.
Pull the roof off of that and show us that gorgeous interior that's in that car.
Let me see how it does have. But yes, it has the interior detail and everything to it. It's not finished 100%. You see, there's no windows and there's still some stuff to add. But I mostly was doing all the decal was basically like individual lettering and everything. And actually, the Monon logos were layered. You had to do the red ball and then the white on top of it.
Oh.
Monon. Kevin Rubel loves
Kevin
that.
Rubel, he'll like it.
I know he loves that. Caboose has been doing very well with their estates and collections. They're purchasing collections from model railroaders that have just a lot of stuff, and it's that time where they can't really be modeling that much more. So it gives a second chance for these wonderful products to have a second life.
Yeah, whole
and
layouts.
They have been buying a lot of stuff. Very impressed. If you look at Caboose's website or their Facebook page or check out their eBay page, there's a lot of very cool things right now available. So I wanted to bring that up because I talked to them a couple of times this week, and they sent me some photographs of some really cool stuff, like a G-scale big boy. It was really beautiful. I saw an Aristocraft FA on the shelf with lighting and everything like that for G-scale, plus a lot of HS scale and N-scale stuff. So it's really impressive with what they've got going on. I don't have the N-scale freight cars on the table tonight from Intermountain, because next week we're going to do a special segment on some of the products that Intermountain is coming out with, as they are a sponsor for the show. And I want to make sure that we cover that. But this is going to be a special segment that we're putting everything together this week to do for next week's show. So that's a little prelude to what's coming up on that. Micromark tonight, guys. You saw me using that device called the Wonder Cutter, which is right here on the table. And I've got to tell you what, this is an amazing piece of equipment. It does, in fact, vibrate at 40,000 times per second. It actually almost sounded like a tool at the dentist's office when they clean your teeth. We cut various types of material with it tonight to see the ease of how it works. And believe you me, it cuts like butter, and you don't apply very much pressure. It's just about the vibration of what the machine produces. We cut tar paper tonight, and the device cut really well through this tar paper, as you see here. Also, we cut some styrene, and in fact, the heat created by the 40,000 vibrations per second actually kind of melted the material a little bit as it cut through, but not so much where it would ruin your model. We also cut cardboard with it, and I don't remember which substance was smoking. Was that the cardboard, Campbell? But we cut through the cardboard, and it cut through it with no problem. So it's a very interesting device. this. Something else to add to your arsenal of tools, especially for the gentleman that's got every tool out there and he always likes to get the latest and greatest neat new thing. So check it out at their website at micromark.com, where if you enter WNTW or say it out loud on the phone, you will get a special What's Neat discount for your purchase at Micromark. So thank you very much, Micromark, the small tool specialists, for helping us sponsor and support the What's Neat This Week show. So Campbell, tell me, brother, you got some stuff you wanted to talk about tonight. How are you?
I'm good. You talked about me moving and getting things in order and hopefully starting my layout soon. So I've got a basement area of about 55 long by 18 wide. So kind of looking for suggestions on what to do. I think I'm going to take
55 by 18 is a good size.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the Toma theory, and I'm going to try to do like one module at a time, get it nailed down like I want it, and then, move on to the next one. So it may be a while before I get it all the way around the room. But
now, you were really good at scenery on that last layout that you had built, and I think you tore that one down before you moved, didn't you?
I did, but I took parts of it with me. So
Nice.
I can incorporate part of it into this next layout. So
When you work on your scenery, Campbell, are you using fake fur, or are you starting to use this static grass material that seems to be so popular these days?
I'm using static grass. I'd always use the Woodland Scenics out of the shaker, and of course, everywhere you get that golf course look, and
Right.
it just didn't look realistic to me. So I bought the Woodland Scenics, which
Static
Static grass.
Master.
Static
Yes.
Master.
I think it's
Thank
called
you.
a Static Grass Master.
And it does a very good job, and so I use a lot of the Woodland Scenic static grass. Yeah.
Woodland Scenics has sent us one of those. I think it's called the grass. I don't know what it's called, but I'm running the website page right now off the Woodland Scenics website, so check it out. And they sent us one that we're going to use for a What's Neat video at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine on doing scenery, because I've got to tell you what, I've quit using fake fur. Ever since they came out with different links of NAP, of static grass now, it's kind of rendered fake fur obsolete. Not to mention the process of the way they make fake fur has changed, and I can't find the exact same material that I
Really?
used in the 80s and the 90s on the Midwest Valley Modelers layout, to the point where I really haven't been able to buy a full bolt of it that gives me the same effect that it used to always do. So right now, I'm sold on using static grass because it's the latest, greatest medium, and it comes in so different many shades, and it's also made by so many different companies, not only Woodland Scenics,
Knock.
but Knock
Yes.
and Bachman, and so many companies have come out with various types of static grass. If you check out the Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine website, you'll see that I made a video for them about 3 years ago from a company that supplied us with static grass, and it came out pretty good. Also, you'll find that we took that fly swatter from Harbor Freight, that electronic fly swatter, and turned it into a static grass gun for under $10, and it worked pretty good too. So the options are really out there these days to experiment with static grass. I think if you do that, you'll be very happy with the results that you get. Joshua, you got to be at work a little bit later tonight. What do you got going on this evening?
I do. Well, it's Q in the Lou. Actually, it's Taste of St. Louis this weekend. But there's about 100,000 people around downtown St. Louis, not only with the ball game, but there's the Ride of the Century bike ride that a whole bunch of people and motorcycles come and drive all around the city. And so I got a lot of people passing through town, and we're going to be open till about 11 o'clock tonight selling food, and start back up at 9 in the morning tomorrow. So
Who wants to drive downtown? Let's go eat some Sugarfire tonight, guys.
I'll be smoking meat all night. So
That sounds fantastic. And you guys and the partners that you work with have also come up with a hamburger franchise. You guys sell burgers. Tell us the name of that restaurant.
yeah, that's the High Point Burger Joint, or High Point Burger Cafe. We have a point here in St. Louis that's called the High Point. There's a theater and a gas station, but it's kind of a relatively unique historical site. And we bought part of that site and built a entire building out of containers.
Nice.
And so we serve burgers, fries, and shakes from there. Everything's made fresh, authentically in-house. So that's been going good. So we opened one right across the street from Sugarfire in downtown St. Louis. So that's our second burger joint location, and it's also called High Point Burgers.
I understand you've also got a contractor that you're in negotiations with on ways to develop this large-scale entertainment railroad for inside Sugarfire.
Yeah, so we're going to get a G-scale layout hopefully going up there. So pretty excited about that. Obviously September's our busiest month of the year with extracurricular stuff. We have Q in the Lou, which is a giant barbecue competition between a bunch of different barbecue places here. So we're in that. And then the Taste of St. Louis, which is this weekend. We also do Pedal for the Cause, and we'll be feeding about 5,000 people that weekend. So
that sounds awesome.
Will you have your train up and running by the NMRA 2020?
I'm hoping. I'm definitely hoping that I'll have something. Hopefully I'll have a couple little Toma layouts in the building too. And I'm talking with negotiations with the National Blues Museum about bringing a couple train sets in there as well. So
that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it should be a great convention this year.
Now, we've gone to some of the pre-planning meetings for the St. Louis 2020 NMRA show that's coming up. And at the next meeting, Joshua, I think you're going to go to that with me as I and Brad Joseph and a lot of the other organizers that are putting that show together. It's going to be a really big deal this summer in St. Louis because not only do we have the NMRA National show, but we also have the National Narrow Gauge show here in St. Louis. And it's going to be a lot of activity, so we don't have to get any plane tickets and have to go anywhere.
No, we don't have to go anywhere.
I'm looking forward to
You guys are coming to us this year.
Right in our own backyard. Now, this week, we were contacted by Chuck Ellis. And in fact, we talked to Chuck Ellis last Saturday after shooting the last show. Austin and Allard and myself and Mitchell Bufoden, we all talked to him on the phone. And we were very impressed with his home layout that he has had. This is called the Great Northern and Pacific Railroad. Now, it's been featured in December 2001 Model Railroader magazine. You can find it there. And you can also find it in Alan Keller's great series of videotapes that he used to make. Video number 52 features the Great Northern and Pacific Railroad. And the most impressive thing about this was the amount of fine-scale miniature craftsman kits that were on this layout, the mountains, the scenery, and the amazing bridges. There's this one trestle on the layout that's got to be 15 feet long. I mean, I looked at it, and I know how much work it takes to build something like that. So hats off, Chuck Ellis. Thank you so much for sharing your work with us on the What's Neat show. And we also welcome anyone else who wants to share their layouts. You know, it's great work. It's the best hobby in the world, and you can share it on our Facebook page, the What's Neat This Week Facebook page, and we'll pull the photographs right off of there with the text that you supply us and share your wonderful work with the rest of our viewers out there that, that this is what they want to see.
Yeah, of course.
They want to see the new things.
We want to see it.
Jeff, you were telling me that Blaine Hatfield over at Arrowhead Models, he came out with that committee-designed hopper car,
coal hopper.
But I didn't know he had wheel sets. Tell us about these wheels.
As much as I can tell you or know about them, he did wheel sets. They are semi-scale, nickel silver. He did 33 and 36 inch, and it comes with 24 sets of them. So, but he did them. Everything about them is exact to the prototype. The axle, everything, there's a taper to it. It also has the correct profile on the front wheel face, but also the correct profile on the back. That may be a little extreme for some people, but really when you think about it, for cars like tank cars, Pullman standard hoppers where it's open, or spine cars, you're going to see it. I mean, it really, because a lot of the metal wheel sets out there just have a flat back. I think they just stamp them or whatever they say, but these, everything about them, they are, I mean, they're not cheap, I'll tell you that. I forget how much they are, but you get a bunch of. I bought one of each set, but they are really, really nice wheel sets. He calls them the definitive wheel set, and
Nice.
he's probably right. They are really, really nice.
We love you, Blaine Hatfield.
Yeah.
We wish you the best of luck in your endeavors. When you watch the October What's Neat show for the RPM meet here in St. Louis, we've got a lot of different manufacturers. I think you were talking about Dave Hussey tonight. You've got one of his cars.
Yeah, I didn't bring it out, but yeah, Dave with all his flat kits from Can & Co. Most people, the old school, we all know Can & Co. from all the EMD detail parts they did. But now Dave is doing all these flat kits and kind of more obscure type cars. They'll probably never be mass produced. I bought one of the Mopac ACF cars. I mean, like I said, it wouldn't even really do it justice to maybe show it off because it's just flat styrene essentially that you got to. It's basically scratch building, except he's got it all laser cut for you already. So I haven't started on it yet, Dave, but I'll get to it one of these days. It's a little intimidating, but
we also
we'll
interviewed David Lyabach in that show from Tangent Scale Models, and I think if I remember right, and I'll have to watch the video to make sure I'm correct, but he's got 26 models out there already.
Yep.
I mean, that is a lot of models.
He told me, I want to say it was last year, that he released more freight cars, new freight cars, all new tooling than any other manufacturer, which is kind of crazy because he hasn't been around that long, and it's kind of a one-man, two-man show, but he released more than any of the other manufacturers. He was really going after it. And I think he just released the other day new paint schemes for his PS3 coal hopper, Great Northern and BN and Louisville and Nashville. And I know with TrainFest in Milwaukee coming up, I think he probably always announces almost a new model, definitely new paint schemes there. I know I think it's a big show for him, so that'll be exciting to see what he comes out with.
You just said the magic word. He just said TrainFest. Last week we had Ken Jaglinski. Did I get that right?
Jaglinski.
Ken Jaglinski. Thank you very much for being on last week's show, Ken. You did a fantastic job, and we're going to have you on one more time in October right before TrainFest. I'll tell you what, they've got a lot on the ball. That's unarguably the biggest operating model railroad show in the country. This year they've got over 220,000 square feet. I mean, that's a lot of space. They're going to have 58 clinics. They're expecting well over 20,000 people to arrive at this show. And we are going to be there broadcasting our What's Neat This Week podcast at 2 p.m. on Saturday. The show dates of this show are November 9th and 10th. So be sure to visit with us and join us for that broadcast that we do. It's otherwise going to be a really fun show. Plus, I'll tell you what, it's probably going to cost us a lot of money because there's a lot of cool models that we're going to see there. And I have a feeling that you're going to be filling up bags.
I definitely will. We need to make extra room in the truck. And I just want to give the website for that. That's www.trainfest.com. Check out all the information is right on the website, and it's really easy to use. So
that's true. And if you go to that website, you'll find that you can get a discount on your pre-sale tickets going to that show. So you get a bit of a discount subject to not going to the door right away.
Yeah.
So rock and roll with TrainFest. We're really looking forward to that. It's going to be a great production today. A lot of people involved. So I don't know what to say except for I can't wait, but it's coming sooner than we think. And I'm going to hand it back over to you, Joshua, because I think I'm running out of stuff to talk about.
Well, as most of you can see, one of us is not here this evening.
Which one?
That would be Mike Buddy. That's Mike Buddy, not Michael Buddy, but Mike Buddy.
Where's Mike?
Mike's in Florida right now. He's one of his lovely daughters
middle daughter
was married yesterday.
Yay.
And I have some footage here of him walking her down the aisle.
Congratulations.
And then proud mama and papa with the two newlyweds, Emily and Nate. So congratulations, everybody, and we hope the best for you.
You wanted a Friday the 13th wedding, didn't
they did, and they got a full moon, too. It must have been beautiful because apparently they were married right on the beach.
Last week on the show, Joshua, you were talking about the interface for the NCE Power Cab and Pro Cab system, where you could actually link it up to your computer to use Decoder Pro. Is that the right name?
It's JMRI. So yes.
And this program allows you to program your locomotives using the computer screen with sliders and otherwise visuals, so that you don't have to remember that CV128 is the one that you use to turn the volume of your engine up or down. You can actually just see it right there on the screen.
Correct. And there's a slide that you can pull it up or down, or however way you want to do it. You can rename the locomotive with different numbers if you want. Has every literal bell and whistle on it, and that's just one of the JMRI programs. I know they have a Panel Pro program that you can actually set up different switches and have the computer switch your switches for you. I know there's
work signals.
Different kinds of controls, so you can actually run trains through there. And I mean, it's just mind-blowing how much information is there, and it's all free. All you have to do is go to JMRI and download it.
So what does JMRI stand for?
That is Java Model Railroad Interface, sir.
There you go.
Yes, I listened to Lionel Strang's podcast as well. He drilled it in our head.
On readers' comments, people were asking, Joshua, how do you make your cell phone a throttle? And while to me it's basic, it's something that we know, it's not something that everybody generally knows.
Yeah. So there's this program that's on the phone, and I'll show it to you right here. It's We Throttle, and you hit that, and it downloads with any kind of, you can use it on Digitrax, you can use it on NCE, which I have, and there's a couple other main companies that use that as well. And as long as you have Wi-Fi hooked up through your whatever device you're using, you can download. They have a free version or a $10 version, and they're really great. I can't read your lips. So
it is really cool. I loved running around here. When I did the soundtracks video on the turbine sounds, I had to go from F11 to F9 to F6 to make all the sounds in the various stages of the way they had to do. And it would have been very, very difficult to do that with almost any commercially available throttle system out there because it didn't give me the ability to have all 28 buttons right there.
Correct.
But with your cell phone, they're all right in front of you. So I was able to just hit those buttons as the cues told me to when I was shooting these videos. You can check out those videos at Soundtrax' website to see what it was and how those went together. But I got to tell you what, using your cell phone is pretty neat, especially if you don't have enough throttles for an operating session,
Right.
but everybody's got a cell phone.
Yep.
So as long as you've got your connection for either your Digitrax system or the NCE system where you can do this interface, you've got another throttle right there in the back pocket of your hand.
And those of you that are on Android, you have to use an app called Engine Driver.
Engine
throttle.
Driver, yeah.
I see that.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Wii throttle is for Apple only.
Apple only.
So.
Yeah. So,
And
so
Engine
Yeah.
Driver is...
an Engine Driver throttle for those that do Android.
Yeah, and you can set it up a few different ways. You know, I have mine right here where my slide goes up and down on this side, and then there's the buttons. You can switch it to the other hand. You can make it to where you can use it for multiple trains at once if you're in the switching yard. So it's very versatile.
It's amazing. I learn stuff every day. I want to thank James Wright once again for his competition and vote that he had. When was it? It was a few months back where we got this beautiful, prestigious award for the very best People's Choice Awards of Best Video Podcast Show on the Internet with regards to model railroading. Thank you very much, James Wright, for doing that. He's still a player in the hobby. You can check out his website at JWII2000, where he simply opens up boxes and shows you what's in the box, which is a very cool thing to do. We don't do that on any of the What's Neat shows. We leave that all up to James because that's kind of his market.
And he also just had some anniversary boxcars for his YouTube website out.
I saw
and those
that.
are from Value Trains, just like our What's Neat This Week boxcars that you can get at ValueTrainsUSA.com.
Yeah, we've done very, very well with those, only simply because this is the best hobby in the world with the best people in it around me in the world. And just like that, guys, that's the end of show number 88, guys. And Campbell told me that show number 100 is going to happen somewhere in December, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty close to Christmas, I believe.
So how about that? So this is the What's Neat This Week podcast with all of your favorite model railroaders and friends. This is your show put on by people just like you, model railroaders, where we all get to sit down, talk about the hobby, interject, and just kind of have some fun. So with that, guys, let's go run some trains.
Rock and roll.
Run some trains.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Okay, simple opening. Can I just do it real quick? Just to cut to
As
the
long as
chase?
it's real quick.
Okay, opening. Here we go. Calm down, gentlemen. Stop
There's
fighting.
a bull in a china shop.
Christ on a motorbike.
This is the What's Neat This Week show number 28. Tonight we're going to talk about.
28.
Did I say
28.
that?
28.
Hello.
We are so 1972 now.
One more time.
All right.
Add that one to the blooper.
That's right.
This is the What's Neat This Week show number 88, guys. Tonight we're going to talk about some of the photo shoots we've done here on the property. The weather's absolutely beautiful for that. Jeff Meyer's got some really cool freight cars to show off, and we've also got the Wonder Cutter on the table. I'll tell you what, it's a really neat tool, guys. So check it out. A lot to talk about tonight on show number 88.
Isn't it 89?
Yeah, it's 89.
No,
You-
it's not.
You were on such a roll that you're looking at last week's notes, buddy.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, see?
damn it.
There you go, 89.
Can you edit over that? or
One
no?
more time.
This
This is
week
the one.
on Magnum PI.
This is the What's Neat show number 89.
Groundhog Day.
I hope I didn't close it saying it was 88. I probably did.
No, you didn't.
I didn't?
That's
No.
right.
You said 28 first.
Oh, Lord, I can't calm down anymore.
89.
Okay,
what is
I
that?
got this.
What are you showing us?
89.
Daniel is on his way.
Hurry.
Hurry.
Come on.
This is the What's Neat this week, show number 89. Tonight, we've got a lot of cool things to talk about.